This is probably one of my favorite videos to make because so many people are under the impression that the whole conversation and idea around the World Economic Forum is some like weird conspiracy thing. And if you're against it, if you talk about it, if you're even paying attention to politics, if you have a strong political opinion, you're nuts. You should be wearing a tinfoil hat and you're just kind of like disregarded socially. At least that's the norm that I've kind of been exposed to. Less frequently now, but like within the past couple of years, that's kind of been the narrative. And what we're seeing with the farmers' protest, which is what we're going to be talking about today, is that tide is shifting, or the tables have turned, because the World Economic Forum is a very dangerous and influential organization, and people are fed up. Not just like 5 people, not even 500 or 5,000. We're talking about millions, bro. Millions of people are pissed off with the World Economic Forum. It's not some conspiracy thing. It's not some weird tinfoil hat organization. It's a real powerful, unfortunately, super powerful organization that's just a bunch of supervillains. Sounds like a made-up plot, but that's the reality. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Today we're taking a look at the farmers' protests and the impact that that's having on the World Economic Forum. Before we get into it, I want to encourage everyone to smash the like button, subscribe if you're not already, and please consider turning post notifications on so you can actually be notified of upcoming videos. Now, the World Economic Forum has this influence over all of these different governments around the world, and it's super scary because they're trying to suppress people. I mean, you've seen it in Canada. They've frozen bank accounts. They've broken up protests illegally. They've invoked the Emergencies Act, which now 2 years later just got deemed as, hey, that was actually illegal. So you got to protect yourself. And the best way to protect yourself, at least online right now, is what I use, private internet access, which is what happens to be today's sponsor. Thank you, Private Internet Access, for sponsoring today's video. I want to thank today's sponsor, Private Internet Access. We've teamed up together, and PIA is willing to offer my audience 83% off by using code SUNSHINE. Now, here in Canada, with Justin Trudeau in power, not only is he kind of like a communist dictator, but he's also censoring the internet, which is why you need a VPN to encrypt yourself and be able to bounce around different geolocations to really mask your not only digital footprint, but to mask your identity, because right now it's hard enough as it is to even get the news. That's right. Bill C-18 prevents users, everyday people such as yourself, myself, from accessing simple information that is our freedom of rights to information here in Canada. If you go on Facebook, you currently can't even see Canadian news. It's wild, and who knows what's next. Maybe he's going to ban everything with Google, maybe here on YouTube. So you need to cover yourself and protect yourself with a VPN such as Private Internet Access. And what better way to do that here in Canada than having 83% off? The link for that is down in the description below, as well as the pinned comment. Use code SUNSHINE with Private Internet Access for 83% off. Thank you, Private Internet Access, for sponsoring today's video. So the farmers' protests started in Europe because the World Economic Forum is putting all of these rules and regulations around farmers, and they're saying, nah, that doesn't make sense. We don't want to comply. And they're fighting back. And now it's scaled and it's grown, and it's in dozens and dozens of different countries, even here in Canada. So we're just going to do a little refresher, a little catch-me-up course. Tractors lead protests over flooding land for Cowichan Bay, which is on Vancouver Island here in British Columbia. There was a bit of a startup protest, and it's still kind of ongoing. It's picking up momentum, and I've actually seen in the comments and received some emails about people that are specifically going to Vancouver Island to join these farmers' protests. No farmers, no food. And that's the thing. If you really want to piss off everybody in the world, go after the most important thing, which, aside from oxygen, we need food. We need food. And if the farmers aren't making the food or distributing the food, we have no more food on our shelves. Plans to convert a nearly 100 acres of productive farmland into marshland and waterways, among other burdens placed on local Cowichan landowners, have rallied concerns farmers and citizens to save food security and push back against government overreach. Now, this is separate from the European farmers' protests. But there's an attack on farmers around the world, and it all stems from this weird freaking organization, the World Economic Forum. And it's become so out of control that they're even talking about this issue in European Parliament. The farmers' protests continue all across Europe. The Christian Democrats have voted along with Greens for 5 years, but now that elections are coming up, they claim to support the farmers. If they are serious about this, they should vote against the terrible nature restoration law 3 weeks from now.
Met de Green Deal heeft Frans Timmermans geprobeerd om boeren in Europa het werk onmogelijk te maken. De kroon op zijn werk was de Natuurherstelwet, de Nederland op slotwet. Nu gaan de boeren de straat op. De Christen-Democraten schieten wakker, want de verkiezingen komen eraan. Snel gaat een anti-boerenvoorstel de ijskast in. Het type voorstel wat ze hier 5 jaar lang hebben gesteund. Dat is niet genoeg. De boeren moeten weer fatsoenlijk gewaardeerd en beloond worden. Voedselzekerheid is een kwestie van nationale veiligheid.
Absolutely.
De Europese Unie moet boeren niet in de weg zitten met steeds meer regeltjes, maar in plaats daarvan de boeren de ruimte geven. Daarom moet die verschrikkelijke natuurherstelwet van tafel. De effecten worden rampzalig.
Imagine, just close your eyes and imagine, or keep them open, whatever. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But imagine that you have somebody in a suit and tie in an office halfway around the world who has no idea how mechanics work or how vehicles work. And they're just sitting with a pen and paper or with a MacBook and their fingers, and they're typing out rules and regulations of how mechanics need to handle cars. And they have no knowledge, no history, no information. They're just like, you know what? We think that carburetors should be banned because my niece ran into an issue with a carburetor once, and I don't think it's a good idea for the entire world. That's kind of how the World Economic Forum is going about their policies. They're saying, yeah, we don't really know how farmers do their shit because we're not farmers, but here's our goals, and for sustainability and for Greenpeace and yada, 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 some hippie bunch of nonsense, but a bunch of money involved, obviously. Someone's profiting off of this somewhere. Obviously, it's not the farmers. Their jobs are impacted. They're giving up work to go and protest. And governments are following suit because it's just one big corrupt shit show.
Boeren in heel Europa gaan dat merken. Als parlement hadden we de angel eruit gehaald. Veel van mijn voorstellen voor de boeren waren hier aangenomen. Maar tot mijn grote verbijstering zag ik dat al mijn verbeteringen er later gewoon weer eruit zijn gesloopt. Nu kan de enige conclusie zijn dat als de EVP echt voor de boeren wil opkomen, dan stemmen ze de natuurherstelwet weg. Dank u wel.
There you go. So now it's even in European Parliament, which is absolutely insane. Now let's take a look at some of this footage here, because you have the Dutch fishermen have joined the farmers' protest. So it's not just farmers anymore. It's actually gone aquatic. You have fishermen, and well, here in Canada, you can't say fishermen. It's actually fisher person, because we're just so inclusive, and like no one is a man or a woman. We're all people kind. Anyways, there you go. Oh, we are screwed. We're not going to have any food or seafood. That's not good, folks. I mean, it's good that they're protesting, absolutely. And if you're watching this channel, chances are that you agree with these protests. But it's not good that the whole world has to protest because governments aren't listening to the people, because they're listening to this stupid World Economic Forum, which, by the way, if you want a matching sticker like the one on my microphone of Klaus Schwab penetrating Justin Trudeau, you can find the link for that down in the description. There you go. Honk, honk. Oh, that's beautiful. That is incredible. You've only really seen vehicles being used for protests recently. You haven't seen boats. It hasn't gone marine yet, which is going to be this whole other level. Like, just imagine all the ports just stop because people are like, yeah, we've had enough. All the fishermen just line up their boats along the coast and just start honking their horns. Like, that's insane, man. What's going to happen to the fishing industry if they just stop producing, they just stop getting fish? It's insane. And then you combine that with farmers. It's not good. It's not good. Eventually, they're going to have to listen. This is the French farmers that have decided to show Ukrainian embassy what they think of them. Holy crap. Literally, quite literally. They're just flying or flinging crap everywhere. And you're seeing that more and more and more. And I think that you're going to start to see that in Canada. You're going to see marine protests within the next couple of weeks if this continues. And you're probably going to see manure start to be spread across different legislator buildings and parliament buildings in Canada. Now, it would be wrong of me to advocate for that. But if it were to happen, it would definitely appear on this channel because that would be some pretty interesting Canadian news or Canadian update in terms of the farmer protests. Now, Spain has recently joined, and the Spanish police blocked the farmers, so the farmers went out and moved the police car out of the way. And they're just moving the cars by hand. Like, get out of the way, get out of the way. And the trucks or the tractors are just moving along. And you've even seen videos where they go off road into the farmers' fields and they just go around the police. Next up, we have the UK has begun. I'm not sure if the UK has been a part of it since the beginning, but they are certainly a part of it now. And I think I've got multiple clips pulled up here of their involvement with the protests, which, by the way, I'm just going to take this time right now to ask you, the audience, where are you watching from? Just let me know down below, like, what country are you a part of? And let me know if the farmers' protests are happening in your country, because I'd be very curious to know the answer to that. So we've got another angle here. British farmers have joined. Slow rolling on the highway. Folks, this isn't just like a 1 day, 1 week, or even 1 month protest. This is going to be ongoing. No government is actually willing to step up to the debate and give farmers what they need and stop this weird push that they're putting against farmers and the unnecessary pressure. And it's actually gone even outside of Europe, and it's hitting India here. India is on high alert. This is India Times. And in fact, they're actually setting up blockades because the farmers' protests will be happening on February 13th. So pretty interesting that this has gone absolutely global. This has hit almost every country in the world is really just doubling down on the farmers' protests. And it's taken the freedom convoys momentum and structure that originated here in Canada in 2022, and it's evolving, and it's turning into the power of the people, the power of social media, the power of standing up to corrupt governments and corrupt policies. We're living in a movie plot here, folks. It's absolutely insane. And it's not just like for entertainment. It's real people, real emotions, real money, real lives that are being affected here. This is some serious shit. You might not be a farmer. You might not know any farmers, but when farmers have to now change their entire way of doing their business, what they know, their livelihood, the bread and butter of what they stand for, they have to change that because some asshole across the world is saying, you can't do it that way just because, and then their local government is actually complying with what those idiots are saying. No, that's when people they've had enough, and that's what you're seeing right now. It's not just some silly tinfoil hat protest. It's some real shit that's happening here. It's not fair. Huge crowd of Welsh farmers gathered to protest against the new climate policies that will devastate farming.
We have to stand together. Divided is not an option. Standing together, supporting each other, and standing up against policies that are not fair. The SFS is not fair. The NVZs are not doable. And we shouldn't live in a time of TB where it's a case of not if you get it, but when you get it. That is not right. And we need to stand up and stand together and give a clear message that we need change. What we have is a wonderful opportunity to navigate that change, to be part of that change, to ensure that the change is fair. Do we know?
Yeah, and you're seeing that across all the countries that are sharing their support for protests. And then even one of the most notorious places in the world, right here in Rome, people are protesting. Look at that. I gotta say, that's a very scenic protest. Just the tractors in front of the Colosseum is it's pretty wild. It looks aesthetically pleasing. Mostly because we don't have this type of rich history in Canada. What are you going to do when you live in a shoe? Are you going to force farmers to do their job and farm? You can't. You can't. And finally, we've got Poland. Farmers protest anti-EU green policies here. So everyone, every country is joining, and this lineup goes for miles and miles. Like, look at all these tractors in Poland, man. This isn't just some dinky little protest, folks. This is going to be ongoing. That's why you should subscribe to the channel. Turn the post notifications on if you haven't yet already, because you're going to want to stay updated on how this has an impact on the World Economic Forum and who submits first. And I can guarantee you that it will not be the farmers. This is too big. It's too impactful. There's not going to be a compromise. It's going to be World Economic Forum needs to step back and butt out of governments, and the governments need to realize that they are siding with the wrong people. You do not side with a billion or trillion dollar evil corporation like the World Economic Forum. You side with the people who you're supposed to serve and protect as public servants, the people within your borders. And these are the people within the borders. They're standing up and saying, no, 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 we do not comply. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Smash that like button, and I will see you all in the next one. And one last shout out and thank you to Private Internet Access for sponsoring today's video. Bye for now.